Hey, welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson, a.k.a. Uncle Tex, a.k.a. Professor Tex. Got any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. Keep it respectful, obviously. Share with a friend, and we can go from there. Like I said, keep it respectful. Just football, man. Just a game. A week removed from that of the, just about a week, be a week and a couple of days, removed from that of the Super Bowl. I have seen these pundits, so-called pundits, of whether they're on ESPN, whether on Fox, or whatever the case may be. And I've seen these guys talk about, is Patrick Mahomes' legacy ruined by what he's done, by the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm like, are we seriously talking about this? And I guess, well, obviously, I guess we are. Somebody who's had 7 straight years, who's went to 5 fucking Super Bowls, 5 AFC championships, and all of his other accolades that he's had, we're actually questioning his greatness. So I've seen people say, well, they're done. Get rid of Andy Reid and they need to start over, they need to scratch it. Kelsey needs to retire, blah, 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 blah. This, by the way, y'all, is coming from Murderer's Row. Again, this is ridiculous to me. I'm going to kind of make this short and give y'all, this is the kind of dumb shit that they talk about on these shows. Interview with Jim Kelly, former quarterback of Buffalo Bills, leading his team to 4 consecutive Super Bowl appearances. I never, and I was a young guy in his mid-20s during this time, when they went to the Super Bowl to 90 to 93, 90, 91, 92, 93. They went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Something that still, to this day, hasn't been done yet. Hell of a feat. Is that the hell of a feat that actually got him, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed? If you want to throw in Lofton, but he's a Packer. Always be a Packer to me. But throw him in there if y'all need to. Get these guys in the Hall of Fame. Now, I love, again, I'm a football guy off the top. Off the top, I'm a football guy. Go to Jim Kelly's stats. And you're talking about somebody at that time frame. Led the league one year, 63.3% in completion ratio. 28-29, 24 touchdowns. The next year, 38-44, 33 touchdowns. Led the league in 33 touchdowns and touchdowns percentage. 34-57, 23 touchdowns. And then 33-82, 12-4. They go 12-4. Look at the record. 12-2, 13-2, 11-5, 12-4. Now, let's go to the playoffs if you're just going to go there. Now, it was a time, because Chris Berman, him and Tom Jackson, the best they ever done as far as I was concerned. Some who picked them every year, started from probably 88 when it was the bickering Bills, as they called them. We all know when that happened back during that time. In his playoffs, he's 9-8. Put up great numbers, put up some good numbers during the time, but he never won. I do not recall him ever being called out his name for losing the 4 Super Bowls. He is more revered for going to 4 Super Bowls and losing them. Him and Marv Levy has been revered for losing 4 Super Bowls. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. But not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. 4 Super Bowls. He lost all of them. The closest that they got was against the Giants. Other teams put foot in their ass. The closest that they got, Scott Norwood, wide right. And that's the only Super Bowl that they ever really talk about. The only one. Scott Norwood, wide right, against the Giants. Who they, on the paper standpoint of view, that's a game that Thurman Thomas should have probably been the MVP. Also the same game where O.J. Anderson put that goddamn forearm on Mr. Gazoo, Kelso, that forearm in his goddamn face mask. Something we don't talk about. But I never don't recall ever hearing, I could be wrong, but I don't really recall, and I followed football a lot back then, about how is someone like Patrick Mahomes, who is dissed, he's won 3. He's 29 fucking years old. Look at it this way here. In 1988, Kelly was 28 years old, going to his first playoffs. At 28, at 29, they go again. 0-1. First round. 90, 91, 92, 93. Nobody never said that about Kelly. Now, Mahomes has had a 7-year run unlike any other quarterback has ever had. But yet, we're going to still talk shit about what he didn't do last week. Now, when he actually had time to actually throw the fucking ball, which if he had time to throw the fucking ball, this is a different conversation that we're having. But he didn't have time, and they lost. Jalen Hurts, better quarterback, better player on the team. He did what he was supposed to do. Why isn't Jim Kelly in this particular conversation? This is the first ballot Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe first, maybe second. 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro. Explain to me how this guy, nobody says anything about Jim Kelly. 5-time Pro Bowler. First team All-Pro 91. Second team, only been All-Pro twice. First and second team. Passing lead 91. Passing rate 1990. Completion percentage ratio. Why didn't we talk about Jim Kelly like this? I'm trying to figure this out about this particular person. Trying to figure this out. But Andy Reid needs to get fired, or they need to go in another direction. And Patrick Mahomes is not that guy. After going 15-2. Somebody make it make sense. Hate using that, but make it make sense. Nobody says this about Jim Kelly. Nobody talks about this. That's another quarterback that they don't talk about as well, who went to 3 Super Bowls in about 4 years. Let's look him up real quick. Francis Tarkenton, who played damn near fucking 20 years. But his major years, I don't even count these years up here. Don't mean anything to me because it's garbage. From age 73, 74, 75, 76. but 74, 75, 76. Put up some of the grandest numbers that you can have during that era. Nobody talks about Fran Tarkenton. They talk about his longevity, his scrambling ability. We talk about all those things. We don't talk about the Super Bowls that he lost. But what we do talk about is the Super Bowls that he went to and lost. And, that's a hell of a feat. Meanwhile, Mahomes has actually won. He's lost 2 Super Bowls. Unfortunately. He lost 2 Super Bowls. But he's won 3. Which means he's been to 5 Super Bowls. Which means he's won 5 AFC championship games. In a span of 7 years. And we want to take shots at him, even talking about, his new haircut. But I'm going to go back to that of Jim Kelly. He's more revered, him and Marv Levy, is more revered for losing 4 straight Super Bowls. Not winning nothing. They won nothing. Bills fans, they won nothing. But Mahomes is ridiculed for winning 3 or for losing 2. You got pundits run around talking that shit. He has to win 5. Mahomes last year, 2023 going to 2024 season, could have Jim Browned it and dropped the mic and left. And he's damn near on the Mount Rushmore. If not on it, damn near on it. Either way, first ballot Hall of Fame. He's already done that in 7 fucking years. Make it 6. And and nobody says nothing. I don't remember the hate of Jim Kelly. Oh gosh darn it, he almost did it. Oh gosh darn it, Fran almost did it. But they didn't do it. They never won. Now, Jalen Hurts has won. Now where you gonna put him at? Now, to be fair, like I said this a million times, guys are still playing. The career is not over. Guys still have at least a decade left of football. At least 7 years at the very least. And you're going to tell me that Mahomes was down year. Now, I will say this. You heard it here first. Rashad Rice, Hollywood, Worthy, and another year with Kelsey. Back, they still have a good back. I'll still say Pacheco, hey, give him another year, whatever. Like, he gives you enough. Don't have to be 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2,000-yard rusher. Give him 1,200. Don't need that. Get it back to his Hollywood time in the time of his first 3 or 4 years in the league when he was throwing for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. He gets back to that, we have a problem. You will have a problem. But I'm going to rewind it back. This is about Jim Kelly. 4, he's 0-4 in Super Bowls. 0-4. Playoff record, 9-8. 0-4 in the big game. If the big game is what it's all about, you can't possibly be talking about Mahomes and what he did wrong. Yeah, the 20-some-odd yards, horrible. See what he did in the second half. Now, people will say, those are junk yards. Decipher junk yards. I want somebody to go and show me play by play, series by series, game by game, what quarterback great quarterback does not have junk yards. And if they have junk yards, subtract it. You can't do it. Subtract it. You ain't going to do it because that's a miserable stat. Nobody's going to take themselves out in the biggest game of their career and whatnot, and he was dropping fucking dimes. Still being Mahomes, like, because he had actual time to play the game. Now, granted, Philly's defense, by that time, they exhausted everything they had in the first half and came up with 24 fucking points. And it was 24-0 before it was all over said and done with. Can't dig yourself out of that hole. That's a hard one. I don't care who the fuck you are. They'll bring up Brady. Anomaly. But what you won't do is bring that up and then don't bring this up and don't bring Fran Tarkenton up. For somebody who, two players had lost 7 fucking goddamn Super Bowls. Who's had the teams that was on paper just as good as any goddamn team that ever played in the 106 years of this game. Now, they only have one Hall of Famer on the other side of the ball. That is that of Bruce Smith. Bennett was nice. Talley was nice. Had a couple of like Nate Odoms. Sean Conlon, a couple of years that he was there. Good teams. Very good teams. But offense, quarterback, running back, and 2 wide receivers. That's 4. That's Lofton. Even though I still see him as a Packer. Reed, Thurman, and Kelly. You couldn't get it done. And the closest game that you were in was against the Giants. Closest game you was in. Now, I didn't check this interview out. I don't need to check it out. But what I will say is this here. So you can't cut Mahomes some type of slack, and he's won 3. Stop it. I don't understand the hate. I know why the hate is. But I'll save that for some other time. I know what the hate is. But you mean to tell me Jim Kelly didn't receive this kind of hate that Patrick Mahomes has gotten just for losing the Super Bowl? It's the second one. He's been to 5 Super Bowls. You went to 4 and you won none. Fran Tarkenton went to 3 and won none. 3 and won none. Make that make sense to me. Somebody in the comment section, make that shit make sense to me. But you can't make it make sense because you know there's no sense for it to be made because they didn't do what they were supposed to have done. Tom Brady went 10 years at a time because he played so long. He played 22 years. He went 10 years without winning. Then he went on a run and then won 4. What makes you think that Mahomes at 29, he's 29, can't come up with another 7 years comparable to what he did in his doing it again? What makes you think that he cannot possibly still all this time left to come back and still win and possibly win a 3-peat? Or better yet, win 3 more goddamn fucking Super Bowls. What makes you think he can't? He's only 29. So what are we talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Mostly gentlemen. I know not too many ladies up in there. Hoes ain't gonna be up in there. Nobody talks about that. But they have, between nooses around a Kermit the Frog neck, which is tasteless, which has a little something on there where we can go into that, but I'm not going to go into that. He's East Texas guy. Knows what's up. His father. Definitely. Jim Kelly lost 4 Super Bowls, and him and Marv Levy and a lot of those other guys. Now, Bruce Smith did his thing on his own with 200 sacks. I'm not taking anything from Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly was fun to watch in the K-Gun. I'm a football guy, first and foremost. And for the hell of it, let me do this. Is somebody that's 17-4 in the playoffs. You gonna tell me y'all gonna talk shit about him? He's won. He, like I said, he can Jim Brown it after last year and walk away at 28, not 29, 28, and will be considered one of the greatest that have ever done it. And you gonna tell me that Jim Kelly didn't get lambasted the way that Mahomes is getting lambasted? The pundits, Rob Parker, all the motherfuckers sit up there talk that shit. And see, Parker, he's a hater, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's planted up in there. But at the end of the day, Rob Parker, because he talks shit about Brady. Anytime anybody wins over 3 Super Bowls in today's NFL, in today's sports period, their team is bullshit. I was coming up as a kid. The Steelers, wasn't that talk. You had to beat them. Cowboys, you had to beat them. 49ers, you had to beat them. Wasn't that talk? You had to beat them. It wasn't this bullshit with these faggoty ass motherfuckers on social media talking the shit that they talk. You had to beat them. Go back to Grant Townsend talking about he didn't want the Bills. I'm not. Beat them after getting their asses beat 51 to whatever the fuck it was. You had to beat them. It was the stupidest thing that's ever said. You had to beat them. Philly beat them, so they deserve to be where they're at, where they're going to come at. And with Jalen Hurts being the quarterback they keep talking about, well, Jalen Hurts, even after he's won, they put up quarterback ratings. They put up quarterback, who's this, is that, there, and Burrow is still ahead of him because of what he did this year after missing the playoffs for the second fucking year in a row. And Jalen Hurts has never missed the playoffs with a minimum of 10 starts. He's never missed the playoffs. So you gonna tell me that bullshit, man? You can't tell me that. I know football well too well. You're not gonna tell me that. He's up there. He's up there in the top. I don't need ratings mean nothing. My favorite quarterback, who would probably throw for 6,000 yards in this era, didn't win a Super Bowl, and that's Dan Marino. That's Dan Marino. My favorite quarterbacks off the top, Dan Marino and Dan Fouts. Both of them Dans. Who could definitely do that. Take Dan Marino over a little bit more, but him and Dan Fouts, those are my guys. Those are my guys coming up as a kid. I love Roger Staubach, love Ken Stabler, love Fran Tarkenton, love all those guys. Ken Stabler, all those guys. And I thought they was better quarterbacks than Jim Kelly. But you're going to sit up there and try to tell me Mahomes, after he's won and he's done the prolific numbers, y'all are out of your fucking minds. Out of your minds. How are you going to say, if somebody in the comments explain to me in detail, because you can't, but explain to me in details how the fuck can somebody like Jim Kelly, who was 0-4 in Super Bowl, 4 straight Super Bowls, and don't get a W out of it? If they win at least one, they consider one of the greatest teams ever. Matter of fact, I'm going to put Kurt Warner up above Jim Kelly. Because he at least won one. And they should have at least won two, the Rams. They took the Patriots lightly. And the Patriots got physical with their ass because they have a physical type of coach, a defensive coordinator, going back that to Bill Belichick, going back to that of Big Tuna. About physicality. But as I've said before, how is it that you're going to sit up there and you don't give this guy you don't say shit about Jim Kelly. You don't say anything about Fran Tarkenton. None of these guys say this. And then you're going to talk shit about Mahomes after winning 3 and the first 7 years that is unlike any other quarterback that's ever played this game. Brady came close, but my man, I've done a show where I showed you where Mahomes doubled everything he done. And if he plays 22 years, oh yeah, he'll take over anything, Brady, if he plays 22 years. Even though I don't see him playing 22 years, because he don't have to. If he wins another Super Bowl, that puts his legacy. Bradshaw won 4. And his first 2 Super Bowls is based upon a defensive running game. Last 2, give it to him. But he still has 4. Joe Montana still has 4. We don't talk about the fucked up ass playoff games that a lot of these guys who won major Super Bowls had when they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Mahomes is going to Super Bowls every fucking year. With the exception of that of playing Cincinnati when he didn't play his best game. So you're going to tell me this guy's garbage now and that the whole team needs to be dismantled? Based on what? After going 15-2, you don't go 15-2 on accident. I had Bill Coward talking that bullshit. Colin Coward talking that bullshit. Come on, guy. You was just praising Mahomes the other day. I already told y'all on one of the couple of last broadcasts that Jalen Hurts is a fucking winner. And he's been a winner and can completely still continue to be a winner and probably can win another Super Bowl. That doesn't take anything away from Burrow. It doesn't take anything from Lamar. It doesn't take anything away from Allen. I'm not taking away even my quarterback, Dak Prescott, who hasn't won a divisional game. The kid can play quarterback. This is a team effort. Everybody has to contribute. So please miss me with that of talking shit about Patrick Mahomes. And nobody talked shit about Jim Kelly going on 4 in Super Bowls. And nobody said a fucking word. Like I tell you guys all the time, there is no greatest of all time as long as time is still going on. Put that in your head. And numbers don't lie and get emotional. People do. You guys have a good one.